How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Mullen Automotive, which was down almost 3% on the day. We also did see a lot of weakness in the market overall. It did finish red, but there's some things that I want to bring to your attention. I won't be wasting any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Mullen. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $1.02, being down 2.86%. On the low, it tested 98 cents, and then on the high, testing $1.09. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 42.203 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 60.44 million shares. So we did have below average volume on the day, and of course we saw a slight pullback in the stock. Now when we take a look at our chart, which is the daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below it's at 37.49, and when we take a look at our moving averages, we are below the 200-day, the 100-day, the 50-day, and as well as the 21-day EMA. So it's clear to see that Mullen is in a bear market, trading below all of our major moving averages. So this is definitely not a good sign. We're seeing lower lows and as well as lower highs. We ended up seeing a low at 98 cents. Remember what I was saying in the previous video. If we do break $1, we want to see support holding up in the mid 90-cent range. But in this case, it was in the higher end at 98 cents. So as far as tomorrow is concerned, if we end up breaking through 98 cents again, then we could possibly test support right here around 86 cents. So you want to keep that in mind. And if we break through 86 cents, you guys know already we could start going down to 75. And I was talking about previous support being at around 73. But again, this is where you want to look to see if it can make a reversal off of these levels. So I would definitely keep a very close eye on that. As far as for the bullish move to the upside, it needs to get to at least the 21-day EMA, which is at $1.27. If it could hold support and strength in this particular area at 127, that's where you want to see if it can make a move to the 50-day moving average, which is at $1.89. This is a big move to ask from this stock in the span of one day. So most preferably, you'd want to see it get to at least 127 for a bullish move going into next week. So now let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent short interest information from Mullen. So we see for the off-exchange short volume ratio, it is at 20.85%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 5.49 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 2 million, updated 29 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 3.74%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 17th, it was at 34.46, and then for the close of the 18th, being at 20.85. So that is a significant decrease right there. And then when we take a look at the short interest percentage of the float being at 16.78%, Mullen does have short squeeze potential. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Mullen. So we see on the inflow, it was at 9.92 million, and then on the outflow, it was at 10.15 million. So we had an outflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large, it was 2.67 million. On the medium, it was 5.87 million, and then on the small, it was 1.38 million. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large, it was 3.18 million. On the medium, it was 5.28 million, and then on the small, it was 1.69 million. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you could see for today, May the 19th, we had that outflow of just over 504,000. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more buying than we had selling. And of course, when we took a look at the large, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 12.74%. So we know that Mullen is a volatile stock, and that's the reason why it's that high. But we also have to take into consideration, we've been seeing a lot of choppiness inside of these markets. And plus on top of that, you can see there's a good amount of selling pressure, and the technicals have definitely changed. We'll talk about it further in the final thoughts, so let's get into it right now. So for my final thoughts for Mullen, when it comes to the price action, so we ended up seeing a high at $1.09, and it saw a low right around 98 cents. So when we take a look at the chart, you can see that it has been forming lower lows and as well as lower highs for the past 3 trading days, and this is a bearish sign. So what you want to see, if it ends up breaking below 98 cents, you want to see if it can hold support at the low 90 range. So maybe around 90 or 91. But if it breaks through that level, then you want to see some support kicking in around 86 cents or 84 cents. And if it decides to pull back even more, remember, we saw support jump in, the bulls buying up when it got to 75 cents, and then it made a strong push up. So what do you want to see? You want to see a double bottom reversal. But if we end up breaking through 75 cents, remember what I said, look out for the area of 73 cents. Again, you want to see the bulls stepping into the play to push this price up further. If they're not stepping in, it's going to continue to pull back, so there's no reason whatsoever you should be taking an entry when the chart is looking bearish. I want to make sure I'm being very clear about that, because I was telling many of you, you do not need to be buying at the highs here. You want to make sure you're buying at a point where you have less risk and more reward. As far as for the upside, you want to see it get to the 21-day EMA, which is at $1.27. Remember, the high of the day was at $1.09. So you're asking for quite a big move from the play. But if it can get to 127 and hold support there, and especially going into next week, Mullen actually does look really good. And if it can move up further, of course, we want to keep an eye on that 50-day moving average, which is right around $1.89. Like I said, this is going to take some time. I don't see it jumping to 189 going into tomorrow. Just my personal opinion. The most realistic target it could probably get to is the 21-day EMA at 127. But to be completely honest with you guys, I'm just not seeing it. The chart just looks bearish at the moment, and it seems like the stock will pull back even more. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the recent short interest information, it does continue to have short squeeze potential, but we also did see a big time reduction in the short volume. So these are one of the things we want to keep an eye on, and what this is showing us, shorts are not showing as much interest inside of the play. But since a short percentage of the float still meets our criteria of being 14% or higher, this is why we want to continue to keep this play on the watch list. It's another reason why, if it ends up releasing a catalyst, even though many of you will say, well, you know what, this company is a scam. I completely understand that, but on this channel, we're focusing on trading opportunities. So that's why we take advantage of them and have a strategy. But aside from that, so they end up putting out a catalyst, whether it's substantive or not, this stock will pop. It's done this many times inside of the past. So that's why you want to have a game plan. And if you are going to be an investor inside of this play, you definitely don't need to be buying in at the highs. You already know the levels that it looks like to the downside. So you're better off taking advantage of that so you have some more upside, especially since you're going to be holding it for a longer period of time and you do have high conviction. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see how the stock performs going into tomorrow. We'll talk soon.